All right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone. I'm Tom Parrott with Avtex. Thanks so much for joining this morning. And today we're going to continue the Avtex webinar series focused on Interactive Intelligence's PureCloud platform. The previous webinar was focused in on cloud computing overall and then the entire PureCloud platform. But today we're going to focus in on PureCloud Engage, which delivers functionality for the contact center. So we have a couple of PowerPoints to go through, and then we will jump into a demo that's going to be done by Julie McNichols. And then hopefully we can follow up with you and have more individualized discussion and demo soon. So 3.5 years ago, Interactive Intelligence took the bold step of taking their 20 years of contact center and enterprise knowledge and developing a totally new offering based on the latest and most current technologies. The result of this is PureCloud, which became generally available last summer and is comprised of 3 product suites: Collaborate, Communicate, and Engage. Collaborate enhances internal communications in a company by providing web chats, video, very enhanced presence management and knowledge about individuals and their skills. Communicate is focused on the unified communications area and delivers classic PBX functionality and much more. And today we're going to talk about Engage, which is a full contact center suite of applications. So a quick review on a little bit about PureCloud. PureCloud's a new paradigm in application delivery. Interactive Intelligence did not just take an old application and throw it in a remote data center and call it a cloud application. It started over, as I mentioned, and has come up with a new way of delivering contact center software. And because of that, some of the key deliverables from that is rapid deployment. What used to take many months to deliver now can be done in literally days or a week or two. You receive continuous enhancements, so no longer do you have integer releases or dot releases. You simply get continuous releases all the time that you can download at your will. Web client, everything is delivered via web client, so it greatly improves the delivery as well as the maintenance of the application, makes it much easier. Flexible billing, you tell us how you want to pay, either monthly or weekly, or I'm sorry, monthly or annually, and it makes the system very scalable. You can go from 5 to 5,000 agents at a blink of an eye. Today, Engage is a full contact center suite, being able to deliver multi-channel routing, not only of phone calls, but of chat and email. We can record and score all those interactions. It has a great outbound dialer functionality. Very easy to set up, great scripting tool. Has a REST API, so you can talk to all your other applications that you have internally, and that can be done quickly and easily. Has off-the-shelf CRM integrations that can be part of Salesforce, Zendesk, Dynamics, and several others. Has great supervisor functionality, and Julie will demo that here in a few minutes. And then because of the way it's structured, we have data that you can dive into to your heart's content. Early next year, speech analytics, so word and phrase spotting is going to be added. Workforce management, so you can start scheduling your agents and knowing how to right size your call center, getting the right agent with the right skill set, taking your interactions when you need it. Social media routing, so we're going to be able to monitor and start queuing Twitter and Facebook, as well as SMS, so classic text routing, and web co-browse. So now when an agent is talking to a customer, they can sit there and share screens to help resolve issues. So that's just a quick review of what Engage is delivering. As many other leading cloud-based applications have done, Interactive Intelligence decided to design PureCloud to run on Amazon Web Services. And so Amazon Web Services will be supplying all the computing infrastructure for PureCloud. And what this does is it frees up interactive intelligence to focus on what it does best, and that is develop and deliver contact center applications. So not sure how familiar everyone is with Amazon Web Services, but the three big things they deliver is reliability, security, and scalability. And an important thing to realize is that PureCloud was designed using microservices, so it was designed to run on Amazon Web Services. No longer do you have just a single monolithic application running on a single data center. When you deploy PureCloud, each instance will be running on multiple Amazon Web data centers, so you don't have a single point of failure in the application or the hardware. And so that's where you get this tremendous reliability and resilience of application and uptime. You see that in customers that run on Amazon Web Services like Netflix, so that when the new House of Cards comes out, it doesn't matter if 10 people are watching it, or 10,000 or 100,000 people. You just scale up to deliver that, and all Netflix has to do is worry about delivering a great product out on Amazon Web Services. Quick picture of the deployment. It really comes down to two steps. You need to get an internet connection to PureCloud. That's an encrypted internet connection. And you need to deploy an interaction edge device, which goes wherever you want to terminate your telephony circuits. So they can reside locally if you want to continue with your current telephony, or they can reside up in the cloud with Amazon Web if you want to have your circuitry come into Amazon Web or Interactive Intelligence. And so this is why you can literally deploy a system in a day or 2 days and then have a contact center cut over in a matter of a week or two. So that's a quick overview of Engage as it is today. Many new things coming down the pipe. But with the rest of our time, what we'd like to do is actually let you kick the tires a little bit more on Engage. So Julie's going to take over the reins here and show you Supervisor, an inbound call, an inbound chat. We're going to pull up a recording and score it and go through some reports. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Julie.
All right, thanks, Tom. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And so what we're going to start off with today is a view of the dashboard. So we're going to take a look at what the supervisor would see within Engage, and then we're going to switch over into agent mode and take a look at what it would look like from an agent perspective. So this is the supervisor dashboard. So the supervisor might take a look at this dashboard throughout the day just to get a general sense of what's going on in the contact center and all of the queues. As you can see, we've got dashlets here for service levels, abandon rates, ASAs, how many customers are interacting and how many customers are waiting in each of the queues. The nice thing about it being on Amazon Web Services is, number one, it's all in one interface, so the supervisor can manage the contact center through the same interface that the agent is using to run their client. So the other nice thing is that we have the ability to drill into these queues because all of the data is so easily accessible through AWS. So I'm going to go ahead and click on customer service, and I'm going to drill into that queue and get some more statistics about what's going on in that queue. So as you can see, we've got additional statistics up here at the top of the screen. If I scroll down a little bit, I can see all of the agents that are active in the queue and what their status is and how long they've been in their status. I can also switch over to historical data and take a look at what has been going on in that queue over a certain time period. If I want to change the time frame, I can just change the dates, click apply, and it will redraw those graphs. I can also switch from chart view to table view, and I can see the data that's behind those graphs. The other option I have over here is the interactions. So if I click on interactions, this is going to show me all the active interactions for this particular customer service queue. Right now there's no interactions waiting in the queue, so we don't see anything here, but this is where we would see all of the active interactions in the queue, whether they were waiting for an agent or connected to an agent. Also from here I can click on this View Historical Interactions, and it will take me to the Interactions page. Right now this Interactions page is filtered by the customer service queue because I came from the customer service page, and I get to see, right from this view I can see all the interactions that were in this queue. So I've got user information, phone number, timestamps, and durations. I can also further filter by using these facets over here on the left-hand side. So if I were looking for calls of a certain duration or during a certain time period, I could use these filters to add additional filters onto this result list. I'll go into the details of these interactions in just a few minutes when we look at recordings, but on any of these interactions that are in this list, I can drill into one of those interactions and see more specific information about it. So if I drill into this, it's going to show me the recording, which we'll look at in just a minute. But one thing I wanted to show you is, besides having some specific information about the call in terms of timestamps and participants, there's also a timeline that gives you a nice visual representation of every segment of the call so that you can see and the supervisors can see how these interactions were handled. So I'm going to go back up to my performance drop-down box up here and go back to the overview. This is actually the dashboard. And from here, I'm going to go ahead and we'll put a call into the queue, and you'll see the interactions waiting will change.
So you're a call center of one person, and that agent
Right.
is not available right now, and we're going to put a call in and it'll queue up.
That's correct. I'm sorry, I just disconnected that. All right, so as I'm putting the call in, I wanted to mention that the speech recognition is built in. So as we call into the menu, it's either speech or DTMF enabled. So I'm going to just go ahead and hit 1 to go into the queue. And as you can see, the number, the interactions count changed from 0 to 1. So I can see there's an interaction waiting in the queue. And right now we're looking at this from a supervisor perspective. From an agent perspective, we would need to change the status to take this interaction. So I'm also set up to be an agent for the purposes of the demo. And if I click on my picture in the upper left-hand corner, I've got my status information up here. I'm in an available status, but in PureCloud you have to be in an available status, but you have to be on queue to take queued interactions. So I'm going to switch my toggle over here in the upper right-hand corner to on queue. And as soon as I do that, that interaction should drop into me since I'm a member of the queue. Okay, so I'm getting alerted that I have a call. I'm going to hit the answer button. And now I have a connected interaction. Oops. I didn't answer it in time, sorry.
User error.
There we go, exactly. Okay, so now I have a connected interaction, and as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, I've got the caller information, and I've got the duration of how long it's been in the system. I've got some call controls over here on the right-hand side, so I can mute the call, I can put the call on hold, or I can transfer the call. If I hit the transfer button, I can type in a name, a number, or a queue to transfer to. And as I start typing, it will show me any matches. So if I wanted to transfer to this queue, I could either do a warm transfer, or a blind transfer. All right. The other thing I wanted to point out was in the lower portion of the screen, we've got a script that shows some information about the call. That PureCloud has the ability to create these script pages through the administrative functionality. It's all built into the product, so you can make these pages display whatever you want. So if you have different logos or different scripting or different information that you collect about the caller along the way through the IVR that you might want to display here, this can all be customized.
So each queue or phone number could have their own script.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the End Call button, and as soon as I do that, it's going to give me a certain amount of time as the agent to wrap up that call. So this queue is configured to give me about 20 seconds, I believe. I can put some notes in here, and then I can select a wrap-up code. And as soon as I'm finished, I can click on the Done button, and that will put me back into the queue for the next interaction. I'm going to put in a web chat interaction very quickly just to show you what that looks like. So this might be embedded in one of your web pages, and you might have more information that you're asking for the customers to enter, but I'll go ahead and submit that. And as an agent, this is what I would see. I would see the incoming chat interaction, and here's the name, and I can just type in a message. And then I'll go back to the customer window.
So you're playing both roles here?
Yes, I'm playing both roles. So this is the agent.
And to take that chat, you're using the same interface that you use to take the telephone call?
That's correct. Okay, so we can just continue back and forth. I'm going to go ahead and end this chat. I have the ability to transfer it, so as the agent, if I needed to transfer that chat to someone else, I could do that with the transfer button. But I'm going to go ahead and click on End Chat. And again, I have the ability here to put some notes in, and I can put a wrap-up code in if I needed to, and then I can click on the Done button. And again, I'll go back into the queue waiting for the next interaction. I'm going to switch back over into supervisor mode for just a minute here. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and maybe as a supervisor, my role might be to score interactions. So I'm going to go over to the Quality Evaluator tab, and if I scroll down, it's going to show me the interactions that I need to score. So it says interactions needing attention, and it's got a listing of all the interactions that have been assigned to me for scoring. We can assign a specific evaluation form to each interaction based on the queue or any set of rules that we determine, and determine which customer or which evaluation form and which supervisor should be assigned to review those. So if I click on the first one, it's going to bring up, in this case, the chat transcript. So this is the interaction that we just put into the system. And as the supervisor, I can go through and I can score that interaction. I can add additional comments under each question, and I can also add overall comments here. I can go ahead and submit that evaluation and move on to the next one. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the next one here, and this one should be a phone call. So we'll see the recording of the call here. As you can see at the top, we've got the agent side and the customer side of the interaction, so you can actually turn the volume down on one or the other if you only want to listen to one side of the interaction. You can speed up the playback. So as I'm listening to the recording, or maybe I want to speed it up as I'm listening to it, I can add annotations here on the recording very easily. So let's say that they had to speak a disclosure message, so I'll just write that in there and tag that. So you can see it adds a little tag right at the point where the agent spoke that disclosure message. So if the agent needed to go back and review that interaction, they could go right to the point where they needed to review that interaction. Okay, So again, as I'm listening to it, I can score the interaction, add additional comments in, and submit that interaction, that evaluation. So from an agent's perspective, we've just scored the interactions as a supervisor. The agent also has a dashboard, and the agent can see some of their statistics in addition to some performance metrics, some of their time management metrics, and then their evaluations. So they have the ability to go back in and see how they were scored on each of those interactions, and they can drill in and see those additional comments and see the recording and see any notations that were put on that recording right from here. All right, so now I'm going to show you what the reports look like. So I'll click on Reports in the upper right hand, or in the center of the screen at the top. And in order to set up a new report, all I have to do is click on the New button, and it will give me a list of categories for reports. So I can select one of the categories. Say that I want to run a Q report, and it gives me all the options over here on the right-hand side. If I don't know what these reports look like, I can determine that by clicking on the View Example link, and it will download an example of that report that I can quickly open up and take a look at to determine if that's the report that I want. So let's say that this is the report that I want to run. I go back here and I select this report and I give it a name. And then it just guides me through what I need to enter. It's very simple. So I can select a customer service queue. I can select a PDF version or any of these other formats. And then it asks me when I want to run that report, whether it's right now or at a scheduled time. So I'll go ahead and click on right now, and I'll run it for the last 30 days. And then I will click on Save. So now there is my sample report. As soon as I refresh that screen, that report will be available for download by clicking on the PDF link. Once it loads, I can just click on the link. It will download the report, and I can open up that PDF file and review that at a later time. I also have the ability to set up alerts. So if I click on this bell up here in the upper right-hand corner, I can go in and set up alerts. If I go into the rules, I can click on Create New, and it will guide me through how to set up an alert.
So this would be for like long queue times or not enough agents logged in? Yeah.
That's correct. So if I select my queue, then it's going to give me a list of statistics that I can pick from and media types. So let's say that I want to be alerted when I have more than 2 abandoned calls. I can put those parameters in and click on Save, and now that alert will reach the supervisors if that condition is met. So that's everything that I had to show you for today, and I'll turn it back over to Tom.
Great, thanks. That leaves us about 5 minutes. I think I'll unmute. Let's see. Maybe I should try to unmute everyone, I think, and see if there's any questions, or you can type some questions in.
Not a single question.
All right, go ahead. I'm unmuting everyone. I'm doing it manually. Any questions from the floor?
Yeah, I don't think so. Not now, but anyway. But I would recommend if you want to study the 3 days, tomorrow is the
If there aren't any questions from the floor, I appreciate everyone's time. I think everyone is unmuted now, so if they do have a question for us to go over, we've got a couple more minutes. Well, thanks everyone. We appreciate it. Please reach out to your Avtex contact, and we'd love to set up a more detailed presentation, meeting, discussion, and demo for you on the exciting PureCloud Engage product. Thank you. Have a great day.